Zone C secure. Zone A lost. Victory imminent. Zone A's captured. It's yours. Zone C lost. Enemy captured Zone C. Zone B neutralized. Fantastic work! Outstanding! Phenomenal!
Hey guys, Darklink here. Have you ever had a really bad week in Crucible? I mean, like one of those weeks where every time you play you go completely negative and you whiff supers, you either miss out on the heavy completely every single time, or you get your heavy and get killed immediately afterwards. Well, that was like my last couple weeks, basically. It was a train wreck. It was terrible. But Iron Banner came back around, and one of the nodes I needed to click off in the Age of Triumph book was to finish rank 5 on one of my characters there, and I usually get all 3 of them done, but this time I'm like, I'll just see if I can struggle through one. And I had been so frustrated. I wanted to use my hunter, as always. After getting the cloak and everything, I was like, I'm gonna keep on going and just finish the game out with my hunter. But things just went really bad, and I'm like, I need a break. So I got on my Warlock for the first time in forever, especially Crucible. It's been a long time since I've had him in Crucible. But in all honesty, he's kind of my roots in the game. He's where I actually started. I wasn't sure about the Hunter because when me and my friends started playing the game the very first time, I was told the Hunter was probably the more challenging class to play, and that I should either go Titan or Warlock, and that the Titan was kind of like the easy character that, you know, someone who doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of skill would run because it's just easier, which I don't think that's true, to be honest, after playing it myself. They're easy to complain about, but any of them are if you're playing another character against them. So in either event, I got into Iron Banner. I threw my Warlock on and I equipped the Void subclass. I put on Blink. I grabbed a fusion rifle and a pulse rifle, all the things that I was the most comfortable with back then. Because everything I was used to now, including scout rifles like the Mida multi-tool that I had become quite talented with, or in my opinion anyway, weren't working out so well the last few weeks. So I went in with this build and I was expecting it to be just a grueling nightmare. That wasn't the case. As I entered, I knew this could possibly be the last time in Destiny 1, or at least the last time with me playing Destiny 1, that Control was the playlist for Iron Banner, and it happens to be my favorite. So I needed it to work out quite well. And like I said, a mix of being completely pessimistic with just F it, I'll try something different. And I got amazing results. Throughout the course of the couple of days playing, I noticed a trend that my KD was positive, and I had some of the higher KDs I've had more consistently. Now I was running the Vendor Hawksaw from year 2, which was a favorite of many people. It was one of those that came highly recommended by a lot of YouTubers as kind of a good gun straight out of the box, which for me it was an odd fire rate for me. I was definitely a big fan of Grasp of Malak. If you watched any of my other videos, you've seen. But this thing, if you can get used to it, it's a little sluggish as far as the aim goes, depending on your perks, but especially using the vendor version, it takes either experience with it or it takes a little bit of time getting used to it, but it was just, it felt so smooth, and it was the change I needed. The scatter grenades with nothing manacles is something I picked up from watching a bunch of videos, but mostly by watching my friend Spin Dash when he would play in Destiny. It was kind of one of his go-to things, and he was just an absolute beast with it. I didn't use my vacancy because I had gotten the Praetorian foil, and then I'd also picked up a good Saladin's Vigil out of Forge, and I wanted to shake it up and try those throughout the course of a few games. So, and this one I think I was using Saladin's Vigil. I'm not even sure, but I don't think I got a lot of fusion rifle kills anyway because the Hawksaw just had my full and undivided attention. But over the course of the couple of days that I played this, I went positive almost overall. I think actually out of the 23 games I played, I lagged out of 2 at the very beginning, and that I get to that in a minute. That was the issues I had with my PlayStation. But I joined at the very end on 1, so I didn't really get much of a KD out of it. It was just 0, no deaths, no kills, no anything. And then I had one game where I came in late, but I counted it in my average, which, if I'm averaging it correctly, out of 23 games, I added up the KDs and divided it by the number of games I played, and I was running a 1.53. And when I removed the 2 games that I basically just lagged out of before I even got into the game, and I didn't kill nor die, I divided and got 1.8. And I don't know if I screwed the math up or not, but if not, I'm extremely proud of how this went, and I was really happy with how my Warlock performed. And this setup, which is completely foreign to me, I didn't run max armor like I usually do. I gave myself a lot of agility. Blink took a lot of getting used to, but once I did, I noticed that it really confuses opponents, and I played a salvage game to finish an old bounty that I had when I was taking a break from Iron Banner, and I came across a team where all 3 of them were wearing those nice ornaments on their trials gear, and indicating exactly how many times at least they had been to the lighthouse. And one in particular was a hunter who had every single piece of gear decked out, and I knew I was in for trouble. But I was able to juke those players, and they didn't look like carry players. They looked like they knew exactly what they were doing. But they seemed to be caught off guard by it, and between that and a little good luck on my part, I managed to get through that game, win it, which sometimes salvage for me takes forever because it's just one of those nightmare objectives. But I don't know, it worked, and I loved it. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to use this for a little bit, and I'll use my hunter, for bounties and stuff like that as I go. But I'll give it a break, and maybe that, of course, will help me kind of get a little more on track. So, and like I said, with just a couple of months left in the game, who knows? It's hard to say what's going to happen in Destiny 2 and what these classes and what subclasses are going to be like. And I don't know. I think keeping it fresh right now is a good idea anyway, not getting too locked down. So I did well under the pressure of changing, and I think that I think I'm set. In the middle of all this, my PS4 decided to start doing some even weirder things than it had been in the past. I was already starting to struggle with a ton of lag, which I had terrible connection at my house, so I assumed that had to be part of it. And I would play it at my brother's house, and I would find that it got a little better, but even hardwired and not running on Wi-Fi, and with a readout of 61 megabytes per second, I found myself having terrible lag. I posted a video a few days ago where I had a Titan that was just jumping all over the place, and I'm like, okay, he's laggy as crap, and he's just ruining my day. Afterwards, my friend King, who I've been playing with, our last Kings First, told me that he had noticed I was kind of jumping around and teleporting, indicating that I was lagging. And that got me thinking a little more about the PlayStation. If my connection was perfect, I wasn't on Wi-Fi, so I was hardwired in, and then the next damning piece of evidence. I played an offline game, Yu-Gi-Oh card game, and I was just doing some of the story missions in it, and like I said, it's think of it like a kind of like the actual card game Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering or any of those kind of games, and it was lagging, which it had nothing to do with the internet, and I knew something was up. And the weeks before that, I had issues with the thing shutting off, the PlayStation itself just shutting off randomly in the middle of games, and I thought, well, maybe it's overheating, but it wouldn't be that hot. I would feel around the vents and everything, and it seemed okay. And then sometimes I would go to turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on. It would just, the blue light would begin to flash like it did when it was, booting up, but it would just continuously do that, and it wouldn't stop. I mean, if I left it going, it would just go on and on and on. So I quickly realized that something was, had reached a critical point, and when I looked it up, I found out that it is I don't want to say a super common problem, but it is a common problem, and I had to replace my PS4. And that meant some data transferring that took hours and hours and hours. Luckily, I was able to do that at my brother's house, and after I finally got done with what I was doing on my other one, I hardwired it, and it took about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and everything was peachy. But that's done now. I did lose a lot of clips, unfortunately, and some of them from this Iron Banner because it happened right in the middle of it earlier in the week, but I don't know, this went really well, and I'm very proud of how the games went out. I completed the Age of Triumph, Moments of Triumph book, so unless they create another one, I can safely say I'm done with everything I need to do in Destiny 1. So now I'll just be having fun and enjoying these characters until the end. But for now, I'm gonna go. But thanks for watching, and I'll be updating you with more as it goes. But for now, peace, guys.